Students should transition down to the buses no more than 15 minutes before the end of the day. It is inappropriate for students to transition to the cafeteria or the bus loading zone 30 minutes before the end of their school day. They should be receiving instruction up until the very last moment. Every student gets signed off and on to every bus every day. And when students are dropped off or picked up in the office, the sheet will be updated to indicate this when they are signed in or out of the office by the office staff. Sites that use Go Sheets and follow this procedure do not lose students. So specifically to the unloading of buses, there are designated staff who take students off of the buses, identify them, and mark down that we received them off of the bus on the Go Sheet. Unless you are specifically asked by the outside bus coordinator, staff should not be taking students off of the buses. Every student is checked off of every bus every day. For at least the first week and all of summer for many programs, students receive labels that they can wear as they are getting off of the buses. This helps us to ensure that students get to where they are supposed to be as we are getting to know them. If a monitor tries to give a student to a staff member without a designated bus loader present, do not take the student. The obvious exception to this would be if in the event of an extremely unsafe situation or an emergency. Outside of those very specific circumstances, do not take a student off of a bus without the outside bus loader signing them off of the bus at that moment and ready to receive them. This is what the Go Sheets look like. It has every student's name on that bus, what bus they ride in the morning, what bus they ride in the afternoon in case those buses are different, and who their classroom teacher is. Every day, they will get signed on off of a bus and then back onto the bus at the end of the day. Procedure for loading buses at the end of the day is very similar to the procedure for loading buses at the beginning of the day. There are designated staff who put students onto the buses. They identify them and mark down that the student got back onto the bus on the Go Sheet. Unless you are specifically asked by the outside bus coordinator, you should not be putting students on the buses. Do not preload buses prior to a loading person being available for that bus. Every student is checked back on every bus every single day. If a monitor tries to take a student from a staff member without a designated bus loader present, do not transfer supervision of the student. You are still responsible for the student up until the point that a bus loader marks them back onto the bus at the end of the day. Over here on the right, you'll see that there are this list of G's and O's. This is why the sheet is called a Go Sheet. When a student gets off a bus in the morning or is dropped off by their parent, we put a G on the sheet. When a student gets back on the bus in the afternoon or is picked up by their parent, we put an O on the sheet. It is only when the whole sheet says go for all of the students present that day that we will allow a bus to go. This is why it is critical that a bus loader is present for every student transition every day. If the sheet does not say go for both arrival and dismissal for every student, we hold the bus, and that could prevent students from getting home in a timely and efficient manner if this procedure is not followed.
A little bit on staffing and class assignments. So we want to stress that there are 3,275 active students on the ESY roster right now. The list changes daily because students are added and removed as they have new signed IEPs. Historically, attendance is approximately 55%. This is why a key element of the ESY job descriptions is that staff engage as partners in planning and problem solving. If you're a classroom teacher, you will be expected to see, you should expect to see shifting class lists for your students, especially in the first week and a half of ESY, until we know who's going to be coming regularly. Please expect this and anticipate that you might have a grade level that you didn't anticipate teaching, or a different disability that you didn't expect teaching, or more students or less students depending on the day. It is the responsibility of the site coordinator to adjust appropriately based on the skill set of the staff and based on the students who arrive. We appreciate your patience as we go through all of that.
Every staff will have access to an IEP at a glance for each of their students. You will receive EdPlan access in your email in the next few days. Once you have that access, this will be the process that you go through in order to access the IEP at a glance for your students. You will first go into the EdPlan system, click on the student button at the top of the screen, this green bar up here, and then you will go to the bottom and hit View My Caseload. This will take you to the students who were originally loaded onto your caseload when you first came in. If you don't see one of your students there, don't panic. We're going to talk in a little bit about how to add students to your caseload. Once you've gone to view my caseload, you'll see something like this, a screen that has all of your students listed on it, or at least the ones that were originally on it when we initially loaded your caseload. You'll then select the student that you want to see. You'll see here test student 1 is the one that was selected. You'll then go to the top of the screen for that student, and you'll hit student info. Once that dropdown is populated, you'll then see a documents button. You're going to click on documents. When you click on documents, you'll see this screen. This is going to include all of the documents available to you for that student. You're going to be going into the IEP at a glance, which will give you goals, benchmarks, service delivery schedules, and other pertinent information for your students. This will be where you get the guidance for the instruction you'll be delivering over the ESY program. For progress reports, we will not be using the Google form that we've used in the past in order to access progress reports. We will be doing it through EdPlan. So your accessing of EdPlan as given at the beginning of the summer is critical. This slideshow is going to be shared with you, and you can click this link for additional instructions for how to access progress reports. In order to set up your caseload, if there are students who are not on your caseload and you need to set up your caseload to either add them so you can get their IEPs at a glance, or you need to add them so you can do progress reports, you are going to click on Wizards, go to Caseload Setup Wizard, then go to Special Education and click Go to Users Caseload and hit Add More Students to Caseload. That will then take you to this search screen where you can search for the students that you're looking for to add to your caseload. And you'll see a list of students, the schools that they're in that match your search criteria. You'll click Team Member to add yourself as a team member and hit Add Students to Caseload, or Add Students to Caseload and then find more if there's more additional searches that you need to do to add additional students to your caseload. When you're ready to do your progress reports, because your caseload is all set up and ready to go, you're going to then again click on the Wizards button, and you're going to click on Progress Report instead of Caseload Setup Wizard. You're going to select the reporting period from the drop-down box. That for this case, it's going to be ESY is the reporting period that you're going to select. And you're going to select the students that you're ready to do progress reports for. You could select some portion of them. You could select all of them. You could select none of them. Then you'll hit Continue. Once you've gone into the actual reporting process for a student, you'll have the options of clicking Skip this student, updating the database, updating and moving to the next student, creating a draft progress report, or creating a final progress report. This is very important that you understand if there are multiple people reporting progress on a student, do not click Create Final Progress Report until everyone has reported on that student, because once you click Create Final Progress Report for that student, no one else will be able to add additional information for that reporting period. Under status, you're going to select the instructional status for that student's progress report, progress on that goal, and then put in the data for the student's progress based on your baseline during ESY and end of ESY data that you've taken over the course of the summer. What our goal is for extended school year is that the students will either maintain or make progress and not show significant regression. On the last page, you can see all the students for whom you have created draft or final progress reports. By checking off the box under the batch and clicking View Document Batch, the selected documents will be batched into one PDF for printing or saving, which the site coordinator will then be able to print or save. Please note, again, I mentioned it before, once a final document has been created for a reporting period, you cannot create a draft for the same period for that student. So if you hit the draft or final button, no one else will be able to add information for progress reports for that student. So please be sure that you wait until everyone who's reporting progress on a student has been able to put in their progress report information before you hit that button. If you have hit that button and you cannot, and someone has already created a progress report, you'll get this error message. Also, please remember that any information saved in the workspace will be saved until the next progress report is created for the next reporting period. So it's helpful for you to put a date next to your comments in the text box under each goal so that people realize that this is the ESY data or information that was put.